Hey everyone, welcome back to my climate news page. Today we are talking about deforestation, its causes, effects, and how Colombia is almost leading the way in the fight against climate change in terms of deforestation. Firstly, what is deforestation? It's the clearing or thinning of our forests for human use. It's pretty much that simple. Unfortunately, its effects are not just as simple as that. See, we're not just cutting down wood to use for our houses and clear space for farms and things like that. It's a bit more than that. Actually, a lot more than that. Entire ecosystems are being destroyed with those trees and with the forests. So, why does it matter that we don't cut down trees and our forests or try and do it in a more sustainable manner? So, one of the biggest impacts it has is it releases a huge amount of carbon into the atmosphere. A forest is basically like a sponge, it just absorbs a lot of carbon dioxide. The more trees we cut down, the more ecosystems destroyed, means that there's more carbon released into the atmosphere, and that means the climate change effects are even greater. But we lose more than just carbon sequestration. Tropical forests like the Amazon are home to about 2/3 of animals and plants that we know of. There could be more hidden in there somewhere we just haven't managed to discover. And I don't know about you, but I love plants and animals, nature in general. So watching it get destroyed is kind of heartbreaking because I want future generations to be able to enjoy that wildlife, see it in its true glory. Let's zoom into Colombia for a sec. Okay, what they're doing is honestly amazing. They're basically killing two birds with one stone. I'll get into that in a bit. So, in 2023, Colombia managed to cut down deforestation, no pun intended. They managed to cut down deforestation by 36%. That is the lowest level in the last 23 years. So, how are they doing all of this? So, firstly, they're paying farmers to not cut down the trees and deforestation for their own farms and to protect the land instead. And secondly, which is one of the best I've seen so far, is they're negotiating with arms groups that control those areas. And who knew? Peace comes hand in hand with deforestation. Like I said, two birds with one stone. Colombia's environmental minister, Susana Mohammed, even called it an iconic year for conservation. What more do you need to hear? And unfortunately, 2024 seems to have taken a bit of a downturn because El Nino is here. And that means it's going to become hotter and drier, which ends up meaning more deforestation. And to make matters worse, some of the rebel groups have reversed their deforestation policies. And without trees to hold together the soil and keep it really healthy, it brings another natural disaster along, which is landslides. In some cases, landslides can be detrimental to crops, but even human lives. And with the soil health degrading, crops and grazing lands don't last as long, and that's a bit of a double whammy. And of course, forests can regrow, but one, that's a fairly long process, and two, it isolates the wildlife inside that forest, which makes it a lot harder for them to thrive. And commercial plantations, oh gosh, yeah, they may sequester some carbon, but there is little to no biodiversity within those forests because typically it's just one tree, one type of tree. and there may be some animals here and there, but to create an ecosystem, you need a diverse range of different plants and animals within that. And chances are that's mainly going to be used for timber, so we're just going to cut it down again, releasing the carbon that was already absorbed. It's a bit of a vicious cycle. So let's take action for a deforestation-free future. But how do we do that? Let me tell you. Support and listen to indigenous people. They have lived there for generations. They know exactly how the forests work. They know what's good and what's not. Let's get them more involved in all of this process. The marketplace can be a powerful tool if we use it right. Just when you're buying stuff, make sure it is properly certified and has all the sustainable credentials behind it. How would you know what they are? Educate yourself. Understand what sustainably sourced wood actually means. Lastly, let's try and pressure governments into making decisions that they haven't made previously and follow in the footsteps of Colombia because they have the resource and the power to do something. So let me know in the comments how you plan on helping deforestation.